Okay, so today is a requested video. It is how I set up and house my Baby Damon diadema, which I will be separating from in here. And I guess a lot of people have failed in raising them, so let's just dive right into how I do it. Alright, so I got a critter keeper right here. This is just an Exoterra brand critter keeper. You can use pretty much any of the critter cages. And this one right here has probably had 9 or 10 broods of Damon diadema in it. I got some paper towels right here. I got substrate in here. And I got my more substrate right there, which I'll get into in a bit. About why I use coconut husk at all. And that's pretty much the bulk of what you're gonna need. It's, well, other than some cork bark tubes, which I have in excess, or a silk plant or something for them to molt on, because molting surface is a big issue with these guys, and I'll get into that in a bit here. Also, my tripod broke, so I gotta freehand this. This is not gonna be this will probably be in Ultra HD, but this will not be a quality video by any means. Okay, as you can see, I've laid the critter keeper on its side, and I've put in my paper towel, which will be my background and provide a lot of molting surface. Unfortunately, you cannot use the craft mesh with these guys, though you can use the cork tile and EpiWeb. But I find that that's ungodly expensive, and if you're just gonna, it's just gonna be a very temporary solution, and they're only gonna be in here till they're about 3rd or 4th instar, then it's not really a problem. So I'm not using any hot glue. All you gotta do is just very light mist, then press it down. Get it nice and smooth. Sometimes you gotta add a little bit more water. You don't want it sopping wet, but you want it wet enough to stick. And then that's just gonna go ahead and dry on. And I'm going to do the back and the other side. Alright, now that I got my walls done, you can still see I got some tabs hanging up. All I'm going to do is just mist those down and they'll form fit. Sometimes you got to smush them down just a little bit more. That piece will probably provide some shelter. But if I get feeders running behind there too much, I will cut it off. And yeah, that's solid. That's not going anywhere once it completely dries on. Cocoa husk, which I usually only use in the winter for the reason that in the winter it gets crazy hard to keep humidity. And this will keep a lot of extra humidity and also serve as a kind of a false bottom to drain off anything from the coconut fiber layer that I put on top. This also gives isopods and any other microfauna that you want to add a decent place to hide. I'm a huge advocate for a cleanup crew, even if it's in a very small temporary enclosure like this, because once you get the mold going, you're gonna have to take the whole thing out and redo it. And now I will be adding my top layer of substrate, which is just Eco Earth. It's pretty dry and it's not broken up all the way, but we want it like that because that'll also absorb a lot of excess moisture should my misting get out of hand or misting system breaks. I've had that happen a few times. More times than I want to admit. And then we're gonna give, well, of course, we can't put it in there that dry, so just completely douse it. It may not look pretty, but it works wonders, much like the aquarium sponge filter. Alright, so unfortunately my camera died while I was explaining how I keep them from getting out of the critter keeper lid, which is right here. And they can get out through those holes. So what I do is I take either a mesh, a piece of fabric, it could pretty much be anything, but for this one I'm just going to use paper towels. Because they do hold humidity to some point, and they can hang on them and molt. So what this does is essentially gives them just all that extra molting room, which is very important. I've also added in some cork bark, some silk plants, and a little patch of long fiber sphagnum moss to, again, aid in humidity, because these guys are going to be molting a lot. Alright, right here we can see Mom and her first brood. See that little one crawling over her? Oh, I love those little red pedipalps. Come on, camera, focus. You can see all those little antennae. Well, actually, those are modified front legs for sensing, but that's basically antenna. So, what I tend to do when I separate the babies from the mom, oh, that is just adorable. You can't be on her back anymore. You're not. My heart. She's kind of tired of you. She doesn't want you there. Go away, little one. Well, anyway, it's easier to separate mom from the babies than the babies from the mom. So I'm just going to take a paintbrush and gently coax her off. And she should go onto this background. And now with all the little ones, which are on here, I will take this and simply place it in. And now that I have removed the babies, you can see Mom up there just getting away, probably wondering where her log is. And you can see all these little tiny molts which have hit the substrate and molded. And now that they're all out, I can spot clean this perfectly and get everything back to normal and get Mom here a nice new piece of cork bark, which does not want to focus. There. Now that the baby Damon and diadema have been in their enclosure for about 5 hours, they're starting to finally show some hunting behavior, so this is going to be a great first meal for them. These are little Kenyans, which are a feeder cockroach that their babies are roughly the mass of a fruit fly. And I just have thousands and thousands of them. Shout out to bugsincyberspace.com for offering these on their website. That's where I got this massive colony of little Kenyans. By the way, if you guys need more, just hit me up. I'll make it work. I originally ordered about two of their starter colonies about a year or so ago, and they just really picked up, along with some dwarf white isopods, which are those little guys that my camera refuses to focus on right there, which are a parthiogenic isopod. And those will double as a cleanup crew and a nice little snack. And that pretty much covers everything of how I raise Damien diadema. Or is it Damon diadema? I'm never quite sure. Also, ending note. Who called them a whip scorpion? It's not a scorpion. It looks more like a flat crab mantis thing.